I shielded my boyfriend from the sulfuric acid his brother threw, and as a result, my entire face was disfigured. My boyfriend accepted 800,000 and immediately forgave his brother. He said, "My brother just acted on impulse. Since I've married you, you should just let it go." When I opened my eyes again, I had gone back to the second before the acid was thrown this time. I quickly distanced myself from the battlefield. I woke up in the hospital, and after the first reconstructive surgery, when the bandages were removed, the scarred, uneven face in the mirror made me scream in uncontrollable terror. Shinsei rushed in from outside the ward, hearing my scream and asking what was wrong. When I turned around, he was so startled that he dropped what he was holding. His unconscious gesture made my heart ache even more. Alarm, "I'm going to sue him. I will definitely sue him." The bitter tone made the newly healed flesh on his face ache. As soon as Shinsei heard this, his face turned pale, and he sat forward. "Nyan, don't call the police. After all, he's my brother. You know how my mom and I have wronged him." I stared at the person before me in disbelief. Am I really going to be ruined like this? What am I supposed to do from now on? I have to sue him. Shinsei averted his gaze, then suddenly spoke with determination. "Nyan, I'll marry you. Don't sue him anymore. I'll marry you. I don't want him to marry me. I want justice." It was supposed to be my first time meeting Shinsei's parents at his home. The dishes had just been served when suddenly there was a knock at the door. Shinsei's mother opened the door, and a man suddenly rushed in. The man, his face filled with resentment, approached the dining table holding a thermos. As soon as Shinsei saw him, he immediately stood up with a smile. "Brother, you're here. Don't call me brother. I don't have a brother like you. How dare the old man give you money? You son of a mistress, go to hell." He opened the cup in his hand and swiftly splashed its contents. At the critical moment, I stepped in front of him. A corrosive liquid splashed onto my face and neck, the sizzling sound of sulfuric acid burning my skin echoing in my ears, as I screamed and was rushed to the hospital. And now, he tells me to just let it go. There's no way I'm letting this go. I will sue him until he's ruined. I pushed him away, stubbornly determined to go file a report at the police station right then and there. Shinsei grabbed me firmly, his gaze avoided mine, yet his tone was unnervingly calm. "A case was filed at the police station a long time ago. Your parents took the money and signed the settlement agreement ages ago. Nyan, it's useless." It felt like a blow to the head. A profound sense of betrayal ignited my rage. I turned around, only to meet his gaze as he looked down. "Besides, from your hospitalization until now, all the repair costs have been covered by him. Nyan, we can't afford to sue him." A chill ran down my spine. My face seemed unbearable for him to look at. He turned his head away, his arm gripping me tightly, yet his tone was filled with heartache. "We're all adults here. Don't let pride make you do something foolish. Nyan, please forgive my brother. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. I'll marry you." I stared at the person before me, tears welling up in my eyes and tracing the uneven contours of my face, yet refusing to fall. "What is this? He married me, and that became my blessing, but you can't even look at me now." He turned around and suddenly pulled me into his arms. "Novel, Nyan, I've wronged you my entire life. Please give me a chance to take care of you." I eventually married Shinsei. After I argued with him, my mom rushed straight to the hospital and froze for 2 whole seconds when she saw me turn around, then pointed at my face and started shouting abuse. "You're lucky to even find Xiaoshen. Just look at yourself now. We've already used the money to buy a house for your brother. There's no way we're giving it back. Just marry him quietly and don't even think about suing him again." I later found out that she had accepted 200,000 yuan in compensation from the Shin family and 100,000 yuan as a bride price. On the day of getting their marriage certificate, the photographer, after taking the ID photos, started to say "handsome couple," but the words got stuck halfway in his mouth. The photographer awkwardly lowered his head to fiddle with the camera, but Shinsei pulled me along, still able to offer me a smile. "Nyan, you look even more beautiful today than ever before." I managed a strained smile at him, and he stiffened in response. Well, at least he still loves me too. After getting married, Shinsei suddenly received a spot in a singing competition. We both graduated from performing arts school. In that circle, there are too many good-looking people, and the money we earned was barely enough to get by. Logically speaking, such an opportunity wouldn't normally come our way. Shinsei said it was just luck. He quickly went to attend a brief training session organized by the show's production team, while I stayed at home to recover. Shinsei's mother really doesn't like me. Maybe it's because of this face, or maybe it's something else. "Xiaoyan, given your situation, you really shouldn't have married into our family, but our Xiaoshan values loyalty and responsibility. He's the one supporting the whole family. You need to be more Virtuous and understanding. Take a look at this floor, you weren't paying attention earlier, were you? Go over it again. I quickly nodded. All the money in the household, including my compensation, is controlled by Shinsi's mother. I'm afraid that if I don't go along with her wishes, my reconstructive surgery will be halted. Fortunately, though, my mother-in-law is just harsh with her words. My reconstructive surgery has never actually been stopped. However, the show Shinsi was on became a huge hit. Giving him a bit of fame, his company immediately pushed him into joining a production crew. Shinsi suddenly entered the entertainment industry. The web series he acted in happened to become popular, so his career kept rising. But the rumors about him also kept spreading. My face has recovered about 60%, but it still bears worm-like scars. What's worse, I can no longer make clear emotional expressions on my face. For a performer, this means my acting career is over for life. In the second year of our marriage, he became increasingly popular and was home less and less. My mother-in-law's expression grew darker and darker until one time, I made soup and brought it to the film set to see him. I wore a hat and a mask, and I didn't want anyone to recognize me at the once familiar workplace. But when I arrived at the studio, I was still stopped. "Hey, who are you?" The security guard stopped me and asked. I disliked the probing expression he had on his face as it fell upon me, and I dodged, saying, "I'm Shinsi's family. Here to see him." Yet they looked skeptical. "Family? What family? You're not some illegitimate child, are you?" "I'm not. I really am family. Look, just wait a moment. I'll have him speak to you himself." I sent 2 or 3 messages on my phone, but there was no reply. The security guard's look grew more and more suspicious. "I'm telling you, you young girls should be doing something proper with your lives instead of chasing after celebrities all day. Do you think that puts food on the table? You're obsessed. Now get out of here." I stared at the unresponsive page, glanced toward the studio again, and figured he must be busy, so I just crouched down by the exit to wait. 3. The autumn wind carried a chill, and my legs had long gone numb from squatting before the workers inside finally began to wrap up for the day. Staff members gradually emerged from the doorway, and I huddled in the corner, unnoticed by anyone, until people had come and gone in waves, and the security guards were getting anxious to go eat. I slipped in when no one was looking. In theory, the artist should have left first. Why hasn't Shinsi left yet? I kept my head down, lowering my head each time I passed someone, searching one dressing room after another. Before I could even open the door to a lounge, I heard sounds inside that made my heart race and cheeks flush. I thought it was some wild lovers and was about to leave when I heard the people inside mention my name. "Brother Shin, tell me, who is more beautiful, me or Sun Yen?" A familiar voice. "Of course, it's you. How could that ugly creature compare to you now? I can't even be bothered to touch her. You're the one, so you turned me down for her back then." I pressed close to the door, my heavy breaths mingling with the reply. "That's different. Back then, she had such a promising future. I had to think about our future together. When I found out she passed Director Lee's audition, I immediately brought her home." Who could have predicted something like this would happen? But if she hadn't caused trouble, how could the role of Li Daoshirqian have fallen to you? Just be secretly happy. I stood outside the door, feeling the blood in my veins turn cold inch by inch. A life unexpectedly altered. The pain and injustice on the operating table did not fade, but instead flourished in this moment. I pushed the door open and snapped a photo under their terrified gazes. Didn't they want to be famous? I'll make them famous. Sun Yen, stop right now. Let me explain. Shinsi chased after me stark naked. I grabbed my phone and ran, splashing the scalding soup all over both of them. Amidst their agonized screams, I fled outside. My blood was boiling. I was going to send them both to hell. Unable to return home and having been out of the loop for too long, I quickly reached out to my best friend. I told her I wanted to expose Shinsi and asked her to recommend a few people to me. Upon hearing this, Meng Yuan promptly arranged a meeting spot for me on the drive over. A large truck came barreling straight toward me as I was stopped at a red light. At the last second, I closed my eyes. After a tremendous noise, I found myself standing to the side. I'm dead. But it wasn't until I died that I learned the truck driver had been bribed by someone Shinsi hired. Meng Yuan tipped them off, and afterward received $1,000,000 as hush money. After my death, a grand funeral was held, and Shinsi wept uncontrollably at the ceremony, gaining significant attention and being hailed by netizens as a devoted and loving husband. Netizens even dug up photos of me going to the hospital for a checkup after my disfigurement, and upon seeing my appearance, many expressed disgust, saying I must have saved the galaxy in a past life to be able to marry Shinsi and have such a wonderful mother-in-law in this one. They climbed to success, stepping on my bones and blood. I stayed by their side all along, wishing I could skin them alive and drink their blood, until the grand wedding of Shenxiai and Wenqing. Inside the bridal chamber, Shenxiai finally revealed that his brother had given him 800,000, he used 500,000 to buy his own competition slot and spent another 100,000 on my reconstructive surgery. Just looking at her makes me sick. Thank goodness it wasn't me who got disfigured. Sun Yan brought all this on herself, filled with resentment. I swore that if given another chance, I would make him taste the same bitterness. When I opened my eyes again, I was suddenly back at the dining table. For Shan Yan is so beautiful. Come on, eat some fish. The moment I opened my eyes, Shenxi's mother was sitting across from me, putting food into my bowl. A tender piece of fish belly was placed in my bowl. This was definitely not the treatment I expected after getting married. I looked around and saw Shenxi sitting beside me, beaming with a smile. What's wrong? Why are you spacing out? I suppressed the hatred in my heart and had a bold idea. I'd been reborn on the day I was going to meet Shenxi's mother. The doorbell suddenly rang. Maybe it's a delivery. I'll go check. Shenxi's mother put down her chopsticks, got up, and went to open the door. What's wrong? Nian Nian. Looking at the hypocritical smile on this person's face, I shook my head and subtly shifted my body to the side. Could you peel a shrimp for me? After I said that, he happily took the plate. I immediately noticed the gift box beside the dining table. The size is good, suitable for self-defense. The sound of an argument came from the doorway, exactly like in my past life. Shenxi's older brother walked in, sitting in his chair. Shenxi, holding a half-peeled shrimp, even smiled and asked, "Brother, what brings you here?" Amidst the angry shouts, the corrosive liquid surged straight toward him. Quick on my feet, I swiftly stepped back, grabbed a gift box, and held it up to shield my side. Aside from a slight burning sensation on my thigh, likely from a few splashes, I felt nothing else anywhere. My face, Shenxi screamed in agony, the shrimp in his hand dropping onto the table. The napkin on the table instantly turned yellow and black upon contact with the sulfuric acid. She hurried forward, while Shenjing stood frozen in place. He was also frozen in place, startled. When he first poured it on the wrong person, I immediately called the police, anxiously hovering around Shenxi. What should we do? What on earth should we do? Shenxi covered his face and cried out, while his mother was frantically busy. Hurry, take off your clothes, get that outfit off. Auntie, quickly grab something to wipe him down and get him to the hospital right away. I said that. Shenxi's mother suddenly found her anchor and immediately sprang into action. I can't take it off. I'm a public figure. Son, nothing is more important than your life, the mother of Shenxi wailed, forcibly using scissors to cut off his shirt and pants. However, the most important self-rescue measure after being splashed with sulfuric acid is to rinse with clean water. When sulfuric acid comes into contact with water, it generates heat, but the water carries away the heat, so people do not feel intense burning. This is something I was only told after going to the hospital in my previous life. During that life, I had spilled a drink on the table in pain, and the burn on my arm was relieved only after I rushed to rinse it with water. This lifetime, I unusually kindly took the drink he might knock over, making sure not to touch him, yet anxiously ended up making things worse. My pain, he must repay 1,000-fold to make it fair. 5. Returning to the familiar hospital, the smell of disinfectant oddly brought me comfort. In the chaos, I took Shenxi's phone and went into the bathroom. He set a 4-digit password on his phone. I tried my birthday first, but it didn't work. Then I tried his birthday, and that didn't work either. Just as I was feeling a bit at a loss, a message suddenly lit up on the screen. Wenqing, are you taking her to meet Auntie today? Does Auntie like her, or does she like me more? I almost forgot about her. Shenxi and I were in the same year at film school. Wenqing was our junior, 2 years below us. She has a sweet appearance. Having known Shenxi since childhood, she calls herself his little sister. I never thought much of it. It wasn't until my last life that I realized the two of them had always been in contact. In particular, after the incident happened to me back then, I was unable to take on the role in director Lee's audition for Southern Country. Even though it was just a minor supporting role, the fifth female lead, the character was very likable. Shenxi took the script I had annotated with my notes and insights and gave it to Wenqing. He also spent money to pull some strings and recommended Wenqing to the director. After the movie's success, this role gained a large fan following, and Wenqing officially entered the film and television industry. This time, they must also be locked together for good. I entered Wenqing's birthday on my phone, and the lock screen instantly unlocked. Opening the chat history, I finally discovered that Shenxi had me saved as beautiful, innocent fiancé. I scrolled down a few more and found out he was also keeping other options on the line. For example, Wenqing was saved as sweet and spicy childhood friend. Besides that, there were also aloof long-haired goddess, fiery and exciting colleague, rich and gullible superfan. Even his mother's contact name was saved as grumpy old mom. I was thoroughly amused, thinking I'd just scroll through his chat history with Wenqing. Now I had plenty to dig through. Fingers swiped across the screen. The more he scrolled, the clearer it became. His flirty banter with Wenqing had never really stopped. This relationship was probably something more than friendship, yet not quite love. It would have been fine if he didn't have a girlfriend. But after we started dating, he was all sweet and caring to me while picking out lingerie styles for another girl. It's just disgusting. Evidence was too overwhelming, so I just kept the phone. After all, in the chaos, no one even noticed. When I went out again, the police had already arrived at the entrance of the operating room and were questioning Shen's mother. Police officer, you must stand up for my boyfriend. He's an actor. His future will be ruined if this goes on. You must not let him get away with this. I broke down in tears, reacting even more intensely than his mother. Seeing this, the police quickly helped me up and offered comfort. Shen's mother's expression darkened. How could she explain it to Shenxi's father if she got the son from his first marriage involved? 6. I only learned about these things after I got married. Shenxi's father is a small business owner, but he already has a wife. Shen's mother was his first love when they were young. 23 years ago, they had a moment of passion. And unexpectedly, Shen's mother quietly gave birth to the child. 20 years later, she came back. In his youth, Shen's father had relied heavily on his wife's family for much of his business. Now, seeing that he held the reins of power and that his younger son had grown into a respectable man, it was only natural for him to reconnect. So, Shenjing, the biological son, happened to see Shenxi playing a minor role on TV, and in his resentment, he decided to disfigure his face. In my previous life, I was ruined. She even tolerated me entering her home, pinching her nose, just to avoid suing her first love son. Now, it seems she's about the same with her own biological son. Officer, I'm Shenxi's mother. Xiaosu hasn't even entered the door yet. Let's discuss this among ourselves first. Mom, what do you mean? Just because you were someone's mistress, does that give the legitimate wife's son the right to bully Shenxi however he wants? No wonder Shenxi told me you've always been fawning over Shenjing. Have you lost your conscience? Your own son is lying in there. My words finished. The information overload drew frequent glances from those around me. Mother Shen was instantly thrown into a panic. What are you talking about? Shut up. What does our family's business have to do with you? What do you mean it's none of my business? Shenxi told me everything. You're his biological mother, yet you always side with Shenjing whenever he stirs up trouble. You've been wanting to drive his first wife to her death so you could step in as Shenjing's stepmother all along. Silence, silence. The mother of Shen screamed and tried to claw at me, but was held back by others. Stay calm, you two. Explain this separately. After the police left, Shenxi was brought out, wrapped up tightly with layers of bandages, looking just like a mummy. As soon as she entered the ward, Mother Shen's face instantly darkened. Xiaoyan, what did you mean by what you said outside? I leaned against the wall, looking completely unconcerned. Nothing much, it's just what Shenxi told me. If you want to reconcile, you should think carefully about how to explain things to Shenxi. Mother Shen looked full of doubt. My son would never say such a thing. Believe it or not, if you don't believe me, you can ask him yourself when you wake up. She had no way to ask. After all, the main reason Shenxi was disfigured was also because of her. Once the seed of doubt is sown, it grows fastest in misfortune. Last life, we lived in peace and harmony, mother and son getting along well. What about this life? Just wait and see. None of you will get off easy. 7. I was quickly dismissed, but that's fine. They'll invite me back. Moral blackmail. Sure to come back to me for a bailout eventually, but that's not important. What matters most right now is the role in Director Li's project. I had just gotten into the taxi when Shenxi's phone suddenly lit up. Wenqing, brother, why aren't you replying? Didn't you say you'd persuade her to give me Director Li's role? If that doesn't work, just slip her something so she can't make it to the costume-fitting day. Wenqing is currently filming on location in another city, and Shenxi is a public figure. His mother won't let this escalate, so she doesn't know. I raised an eyebrow, thinking of a way to get back at them. Shenxi, Sun Yan is a dead end, but I heard the assistant director has a minor role. He happens to be in Liaoqing near you these 2 days. Use your connections. Send a gift or something. Wenqing, great, thank you. Brother, this assistant director comes from a wealthy family and despises The entertainment industry's unwritten rules. Actors he has blacklisted rarely get roles within the industry. Moreover, I never said what gift to give, just hope Wenching doesn't end up giving herself away, or else don't blame me for kicking her in the hoof anyway. Since I've already been driven out, I might as well block the Shin family. I put my phone away at home. This is a move that could deliver a fatal blow. I quickly joined the crew, with my prior understanding of the role and references from 2 lifetimes. I performed excellently on the day of the wrap. I, a supporting actress, even received flowers. Checking the time, the initial restoration should be completed by now. It's time to go see him. I made a point of putting on makeup, and though I wasn't famous at the time, I walked in holding a bouquet of flowers from the production crew. When I walked in, Shin Si screamed at the mirror, "Ah, my face, it's ruined, son." "It's okay, everything will be fine." I opened the door and walked in. And 2 people turned to look at me. The moment I saw Shin Si, the flowers slipped from my hand. I did it on purpose. I clearly saw the hurt and pain in his eyes, then awkwardly picked up the flowers, saying with a smile as if to defuse the tension, "As long as no one's hurt, that's what matters. You finally decided to show up. What took you so long?" As soon as Mother Shin spoke, I rolled my eyes without a care. "Son, look at her attitude. Just look at her. I have to work. Besides, when Auntie kicked me out, didn't she tell me never to come back?" Shin Si saw the bouquet of flowers, with a standing plaque that read, "Congratulations on wrapping up. You went to act in Southern Country." "Yes, after your mother kicked me out. She said we broke up. With love gone, I at least need a career." "How could you go to work so calmly after something this big happened to me? Do you even care about me at all?" I couldn't help but laugh at the sight of the man before me, his face twisted and pockmarked. In my past life, after my accident, he rushed to get our marriage certificate and then immediately joined the film crew. The time we actually spent together could be counted on 2 hands. How dare he ask me that? "And what about you? When Ching called you after I joined the crew, didn't she? Somehow she got blacklisted in the industry and called just to curse at me. She even said it was my fault for not listening to you and giving up the role. You 2 have been in contact all along." He quickly shook his head. "No way, how could that be? She's just talking nonsense. I was only joking with her." "But you can't just ignore me because you're angry. Why should I care about you? Even your mom thinks I'm meddling too much." "What do you mean?" I ignored him and turned to look at Shin's mother behind me, her face dark with anger. "Auntie, how much did Shin Jing pay you to sign the settlement agreement so easily? Shin Si is your own son. Don't you even want to seek justice for him?" Mom. "Nyen Nyen, what does this mean? What's a reconciliation agreement? You signed it." "No, listen to me. I had no other choice." Shin's mother hurried to explain, while I chimed in, eager to stir the pot. "Exactly, with Mrs. Shin critically ill now, rushing to become a stepmother right after she's gone. How could you blame the future son for that?" "Right, Auntie, shut your mouth." "Mom, you need to explain this clearly. You said." The 2 began to argue. Shin Si's pockmarked face twisted into an even more ferocious snarl in his rage, frightening Mrs. Shin into stumbling backward. When the time came, I ambled downstairs at my leisure to get a meal. When they returned, the 2 sat in silence, as if they had formed a united front. Yet, the look in Mother Shin's eyes was filled with resentment. "Xiao Yan, Auntie was wrong. Auntie apologizes to you, but given Shin's current condition, you're such a kind girl. You wouldn't abandon him in his time of need, would you?" Moral coercion always arrives, albeit sometimes late. You need to realize you're a public figure. If you dare abandon Xiaoshen at this moment, I no need. Shin Si, let's get married. You rose step by sucking my bone and blood in your past life. Now it's my turn in this one. Shin Si paused for a moment, his eyes wide with shock. He hadn't expected me to still be willing to marry him. Perhaps there was a touch of genuine emotion after all. "Nyen Nyen, you're so wonderful." He came over to hug me, and I took a step back. He stood frozen in place once more, injured, but the look on his face, combined with the pained expression, was somehow hard to describe. "Let's get this straight. I'll marry you, but only if I'm in charge of all the family's money." Mother Shen was the first to lose her composure. "On what grounds, Auntie? If you can so easily forgive someone for destroying Shin Si just because it's Shin Jing and accept money for it, then if anything happens in the future and money is left with you, won't you just give it all back? Besides, since I'm married to Shin Si, all that money would definitely go toward his recovery. Would you really be willing to let it sit with you?" Listening to my words, Shin Si's thoughtful gaze also turned toward his mother. Once a rift forms between people, the relationship can easily break apart. Looking into her son's eyes, Shin's mother felt a flicker of fear. "What nonsense are you talking? Let's just drop it if you don't agree. I won't push it. I finished speaking and stood up to leave, but Shinseai grabbed my arm. He turned to look at his mother, his gaze dark and chilling. Mom, you're willing, right? Besides Nyen Nyen, your son will never find anyone else in the future. Mother Shin eventually agreed. 9 On the day of our wedding photo shoot, in front of the camera and after repeated urging from the photographer, Shinseai finally took off his mask. His face left everyone present in stunned silence. He seemed a bit embarrassed, his proud dignity ground into the dust, as he tightly gripped my hand just as he had done for me in a past life. I smiled and said to him, Shinseai, you look more beautiful today than ever before. To outsiders, I am an incredibly tolerant and kind wife, utterly devoted to love and completely indifferent to appearance. I can hear the praise surrounding me, and I see the fleeting anger and shame flash across the face of the person before me. Not feeling too great. Take it slowly. After completing the marriage registration, I finally began to inventory the Shin family's assets. Unexpectedly, the Shin family's total assets amounted to 2 million. This is way more than I expected. This settlement not only cost Shinjing 1 million, but Shinse's father also paid an additional 500,000 in compensation upon hearing about it, plus their family savings. And this might not even be everything. We haven't even counted this house yet. Not bad at all. The money is in my hands, and I don't hesitate to replicate his path to fame. I spent 800,000 this time to secure a better spot for myself, and also used the money to actively help him with repairs. Right after getting married, I joined the show. Just like in my past life, once the program aired, I instantly gained popularity. With the movie's release, I suddenly gained a bit of fame, especially after the media broke the news of my early marriage. People were initially expressing regret, but on the day I registered my marriage, some passers-by at the Civil Affairs Bureau spoke up for me and even shared photos. Public opinion shifted dramatically, and netizens couldn't help but remark, sister is so devoted, staying by his side through thick and thin. I really admire it, but can't you feel nauseous looking at this face? I can't even eat a meal when facing this face. Why can't I meet such a devoted and loyal girlfriend? I'm a fan now. My reputation kept growing, and I became increasingly busy with film and TV projects, leaving little time for Shinseai. When I occasionally came home, I'd just sit for a while and leave. Ignoring his attempts to win me over, his gaze toward me shifted from initial gratitude to a subtle resentment, then to reproach, escalating in layers. Occasionally, when I'm kind to him, he eagerly approaches, but as soon as I show even a hint of disgust on my face, he retreats, hurt like training a dog, facing my own face every day and then looking at myself on the screen. How painful it is. I control all the household expenses, so even Shinse's mother has to grit her teeth and put on a smile. For me, what a wonderful day this is. 10 Until one day, a message arrived on the phone. Shinseai, Nyen Nyen, I made soup and came to the set to see you. The security guard doesn't believe I'm your husband. He won't let me in. Can you come get me? How familiar. With the roles reversed, this is what it feels like. I had no intention of agreeing, but Song Yen, my scene partner opposite me, smiled and said, is that the husband of our senior who married young? I said with a helpless expression, yeah. He's a bit sensitive and keeps a close eye on me. The people around perked up their ears. Is he still watching the senior? After the accident, he's become less secure. I always have to tell him my whereabouts. Last time, I got home a bit late because of work, and he smashed all the plates. A collective sigh rippled through the crowd. Big brother is so inconsiderate. Not like me. I'm the one who truly cares for you, sis. What a little schemer, always stirring the pot, sis. After you finish filming this scene, could you walk me through the next one? Seeing the slight glint in his eyes, I nodded. Of course, work comes first. You're so dedicated, senior. After I had been working for several hours and just finished up, someone suddenly burst in. Sun Yen, come out right now. Are you secretly seeing another man behind my back? Clearly, it should be you who's disfigured. How could it be me? What on earth have you done? You ruined me. Come out here. Translated text in English, formatted exactly as the original content type. As I listened to his shouts, a sudden guess struck me. It seemed he also remembered his past life. Wielding a knife, he rushed in and swung it wildly, while security guards chased behind, too afraid to get close. Seeing me surrounded by a crowd, he charged straight toward me, but before he could get near, Song Yen, suspended on wires, kicked him flying. The knife clattered to the ground, and he was quickly subdued. He knows all too well how crucial reputation is in the entertainment industry. Perhaps recalling his inability to handle the fall from grace in his past life, he now wants to ruin me as well. The whole person shouted loudly, It should have been you who got disfigured. You must have done something. How could you do this to me? His few brief words caused the people around me to look at me with complicated expressions. He was taken to the police station. I went to bail him out late at night, and on the way there, I knew someone was secretly filming me. 11. The next morning, the trending topics exploded, and the video was posted online. My Weibo account has been hacked. Social media comment, chilling to think about. Isn't this like eating a blood-soaked steamed bun? At Sun Yan, explain why he said it should be you who gets disfigured. Wait, everyone, Sun Yan's husband Shin Si is also an entertainer. Could this have been planned all along? Climbing the ladder on her husband's back, that's ruthless. Everyone believed his breakdown was genuine, and as a vulnerable individual, he easily gained the support of the majority. The world is always like this, everyone says. How could he possibly lie when he's already in such a miserable state? He's already in such a miserable state. How could he possibly be the bad guy? I said nothing, yet Shin Si suddenly started using Weibo. His face had recovered about 70%, still bearing the scars of flesh strips. With a heavy expression, he apologized to everyone. He kept saying he had caused everyone trouble and that the matter had nothing to do with him, but the tears welling in his eyes sparked endless speculation. Many netizens commented below, "Blink if you're being forced." People came up with one conspiracy theory after another, even riding the wave of attention. He went on to film a public service video for people with disabilities. We've had a falling out. The night he was released on bail, the first thing he said to me when he got in the car was, "Quite the achievement, Sun Yan, stealing everything from me. It's strange, this person seems to have no sense of morality at all. What did I take from you? I have no obligation to block sulfuric acid for you, and besides, you're worse than an animal. I'll be straightforward, once I remember. There's no need to pretend." His gaze was cold and piercing as he looked at my face, pulling at the corner of his mouth. "You think I'll lose like this? I crushed you in my past life, and I can do it again in this one. Oh, then get out of here. You want to kick me out, aren't you afraid?" Before he could finish, the door swung open, and I kicked him out. He collapsed onto the roadside, and I gave him the middle finger from the car. Get lost, trash. 12. My reputation is mixed, but the attention has only skyrocketed. With a face like that, he can't act. How could he possibly make a comeback? He reportedly started sending resumes to various film and TV production teams, but because of his face, he couldn't even perform basic expressions, making him completely unusable. He had lived too smoothly in his past life, held up too high by others, and now, suddenly, he was trapped in despair, unable to pull himself out. He started posting lengthy posts online, each one accusing me of giving him the cold shoulder and lacking affection after marriage in so many ways. I've said I dislike his face and that I married him just to take advantage of him. I didn't explain anything, and my reputation hit rock bottom. Half a month later, he posted a photo of just Song Yan and me having dinner together, accusing me of marital infidelity and neglecting him. Trending topics are exploding again. My reputation plummeted, and people threw eggs at me when I walked down the street. He showed up at my apartment looking smug, watching me return in a sorry state. With no one else around, he finally revealed his true nature. "Sun Yan, even if I can't find a job, do you think I can't ruin you? If you go home now, kneel down and beg me, and transfer all the money you've earned from acting to me, I might consider forgiving you." I threw off the vegetable leaves on my head and said to him, full of resentment, "I don't understand. What exactly are you blaming me for? All I did was not block that sulfuric acid for you. Was I obligated to take it for you?" My words seemed to touch a nerve. He grabbed my collar frantically and roared, "How dare you not block it for me? My face is ruined, ruined. Do you know how much I'm suffering? You've destroyed my entire life. I should have been famous. I should have been a film star. And it's all your fault. Why didn't you cover for me?" He held a dagger to my neck, trying to force me into submission. I was so terrified I broke down. "Why don't you blame your mother who was the third party? Why don't you blame your brother who threw sulfuric acid on you? Instead, you blame me. I want to ask, on what grounds?" He released my hand and watched me collapse to the ground. "Of course I blame them, and I won't let them off the hook. You've ruined my life. I won't spare a single one of you." He spoke, suddenly being pushed to the ground. The police officer who emerged from the room was quickly surrounded by assistants holding live streaming equipment. Shin Si stared in bewilderment at the scene, then suddenly realized and shouted, "It's you, you set me up." "No, it's Meng Yuan. She deliberately fed me false information to lure me here." He believed that just as Meng Yuan had betrayed me without hesitation in the previous life, she would do the same again this time. But he forgot that if Meng Yuan could betray me for money, He could just as easily betray him for a higher price. The live stream just now completely cleared my name, breaking into a home with a knife and threatening the occupants. This widely followed crime has resulted in an 8-year prison sentence for him. 13. The wind has shifted. And I publicly disclosed online all financial support I provided to the Shin family after marriage, including proof of every repair he made. Even went so far as to have paparazzi release all his flirty chat records from his phone. I gave him a taste of his own medicine from his past life. Netizens have been leaving comments under my Weibo post. I've never seen someone so shameless, truly the son of a mistress. Sister, just focus on your own awesomeness. I ranted for so long, only to find out I wronged an innocent person. I'm so furious. Don't be such a Shinsei. I just don't get it. His wife is beautiful, earns good money, doesn't even mind his disfigurement, and spends a fortune on his reconstructive surgery. What on earth is he dissatisfied with? He must be out of his mind. Shinsei was completely nailed to the pillar of shame, with netizens as witnesses. The divorce proceeded smoothly. As for the division of assets, there was no question, he was the at-fault party for attempted murder. So how could he possibly walk away with a large portion of my property? He was completely abandoned by his father, and it was so humiliating that even his mother was cast aside after the phone records were made public. Besides Shinsei being criticized, the already blacklisted Wenqing was dragged out and publicly shamed once again. Her reputation became so tarnished that she'd likely have vegetables thrown at her if she walked down the street. Could this be considered another kind of fire in this world? There are always those who are never satisfied, always wanting more. Cause and effect are intertwined. What one has betrayed or owed, fate will make them repay in another form. Just as everything I possess is what I was always meant to have. I have a clear conscience. End of text. The first story ends here. Don't go anywhere. The next one is even more exciting. Mom is a strategy guide girl. After she succeeded in her conquest, she left this world, leaving me with 4 dads. The first dad is a CEO whose wealth rivals that of a nation. The second dad is a household name movie star. The third dad is a master of medicine. And the fourth holds a position of great power. For 16 years, my forefathers doted on me, giving me the moon if I asked for the stars, until 3 years ago, when Wenya, the daughter of their former white moonlight, returned. From that day on, my forefathers began to trust only her, not me. She claimed I cursed her as filthier than a dog and was unworthy of living at home. So my fathers made me eat dog food and sleep in a doghouse. She accused me of bullying her at school with other classmates, so my fathers withdrew me from school and hired 3 thugs to beat me at home for 3 months. After Wenya once again claimed I pushed her, my fathers locked me in a dog cage without food for 3 days and nights to teach me a lesson. When I was on the verge of starvation, I heard my mother's voice. Nan, do you want to come back to mommy? I snapped awake instantly. Then I realized it wasn't my mother speaking to me, but the system. It said that when my mother left, she left an opportunity for me. If I was willing, I could go to her world. Of course I'd be happy to. Just as the words were on the tip of his tongue, he swallowed them back. I asked the system, would going back to my mom be better than this? If she loved me, why didn't she take me with her in the first place? The system told me that my mother took on this mission because my grandmother was seriously ill, and she came to this world to save her. She was just a sophomore in that world, having spent all her savings saving her grandmother, and her family was still in debt at the time. The forefathers promised that no matter which of them I was born to, they would treat me as their own child, just to let their mother keep a memory of them. A parent's love for their child is shown by planning for their long-term future. My mother didn't want me to suffer with her, so she left me here. Nan, the system murmured gently, as if caressing me. Your mother has been waiting for you all these years. She hasn't dated, hasn't married, and bought a small house. She's been waiting for you. Would you like to go find her? I nodded. The system breathed a sigh of relief, saying that as soon as this body of mine dies, I'll be able to see my mother. Hearing this, I took off my clothes and tied a knot on the cage. I've seen it on TV. If you stick your head in and let your body drop, you'll die. Luckily, the dog cage was big enough, and I'm short enough. After I put the hood over my head, a feeling of suffocation quickly spread around my neck. My consciousness began to fade, yet I felt a surge of joy. I'll be seeing Mom soon. My joy lasted only a few seconds before I heard someone call my name. The dog cage was opened, and I was rescued. After catching my breath, I looked up and met those panicked eyes. Dad Goo. The address slipped out almost instinctively. Almost immediately, I felt a pang of regret because upon hearing it, the panic in Guya's eyes was replaced by disgust. Don't call me that. You're not worthy. Guyi is my CEO daddy. Out of my 4 dads, he spoils me the most. Many People think he's my biological father, because our eyes look very similar. Over the years, I've lived in Gu's father's villa. He buys me whatever I want. He once said he would pluck the stars from the sky for me if I ever wanted them. However, this favoritism ended 3 years ago. Dad Gu brought Winya back from abroad. That's when I learned that besides my mom, the four of them had another white moonlight in their hearts. Back then, that white moonlight betrayed the four of them, took a large sum of money, and went abroad. It was Mom who appeared to redeem them, helping them slowly emerge from that betrayal. Later, the white moonlight was dying abroad and called Father Gu to apologize, begging him to adopt Winya, for Dad said Winya is a bit younger than me, so I should get along with her peacefully. I really do see her as a younger sister. From the very beginning, Winya wanted to steal all the dad's affection. She would suddenly have bruises on her body, saying I was the one who hit her. He suddenly tumbles down the stairs, saying I pushed him, as she kept saying how many times I had hurt her. My parents became increasingly disappointed in me until that day when Winya was cornered in an alley and assaulted by over a dozen thugs. After those thugs were caught, they all claimed I had put them up to it. I had no way to defend myself. From that day on, I became the villain in this family. My forefathers forbid me from calling them dad. I was also moved from the princess room to a dog cage. All the servants called me a murderer. Beatings, scoldings, and starvation became routine. At that thought, I quickly lowered my head and apologized. I'm sorry, Mr. Gu. Even so, Mr. Gu pressed on relentlessly. Shinsinan, what are you trying to do? Stage a suicide attempt, just to get our attention? But are you just stupid, trying to stage a suicide here? This place stinks so much. Even if your body rots, no one would ever find it. He thought I was acting all along. I didn't argue, just asked. In confusion, Mr. Gu, why are you here? I thought you were obsessed with cleanliness. Mr. Gu frowned. This is my house. I can go wherever I please. I came here to warn you. Today is Xiaoya's birthday. Don't cause her any trouble. At the very least, you can't die here. I nodded obediently. So he saved me because he didn't want me dying in the villa and ruining Winya's day. Then I'll just die somewhere else too. After Gu's father left the doghouse, I also left the Gu family villa. I bought a bottle of pesticide and went to the place where my mother used to live. I lay on the bed holding a photo of my mother. As I picked up the pesticide and was about to drink it, I paused. If I died just like that and was found, I would definitely cause trouble for the police, so I wrote a suicide note, telling everyone that I took my own life. The pesticide tasted bitter, burning like fire from the tip of my tongue down to my stomach. I quickly lost consciousness. Mom, I'm here. I don't know how much time had passed, but I felt stomach acid rising. After throwing up, I woke up feeling sick. I leapt up in ecstasy at the sight of an unfamiliar ceiling, but before the word mom could escape my lips, I met Mr. Zhang's eyes instead. Dad Jiang stood before me in his white lab coat, still holding my suicide note in his hand. His fingertips trembled slightly from the exertion. Finally, he threw the letter in my face. Shinsinan, you really have some nerve, learning to use death to force us to pay attention to you. If you were going to die, you could have at least done it somewhere far away. Why did you choose that place? Do you realize you defiled your mother's house? I was left at a loss by Dad Zhang's roar. To be honest, among the 4 dads, my favorite was Dr. Dad Jiang Zhouxing. He is a medical expert, skilled in both traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine. On weekdays, he always teaches me medical knowledge and also shows me acupuncture. He is gentle and amusing, spending the most time with me. I once thought he was my real father. Even when Wenya first appeared, he didn't pay her as much attention as the other 3 fathers did and said to me, Nan Nan, you are the only daughter of Father Jiang. No one's presence can shake your position. Until the day Wenya fainted in public. Dad Jiang pulled an acupuncture needle from the back of her head just as he asked Wenya what had happened. Wenya suddenly knelt down in front of me. Sister, I was wrong. I didn't tell Father Jiang about this. He found out on his own. Please, prick me with the needle one more time. That was the first time I saw Father Jiang lose his temper. He looked at me with utter disappointment and said, Shinsinan, I taught you these skills to save lives, not to take them. No matter what I said, he wouldn't believe me because aside from him, I was the only one in the family who could insert the needle there. Third brother, calm down a bit. Only then did I notice that Dadgu was also in the hospital room, his face grim. Shinsinan seems to have developed a mental issue. She attempted suicide once at home, and then drank pesticide at Xinyi's place. I suspect. Dad Jiang interrupted him. Eldest brother, are you having a change of heart? Have you forgotten how convincing an actress she can be? She's so obsessed with wealth and status. How could she bear to leave the 4 of us? It's just that she knows it's Xiaoya's birthday today and is putting on a show to grab Attention, hearing his words, the confusion on Father Gu's face gradually faded. You're right. Just then, both their phones rang simultaneously. They took them out and tapped the screens. Dad Gu, Dad Jiang, when are you coming home? The other two dads are already waiting at home. Today is my coming-of-age ceremony. If you don't come back soon, I'm going to get mad. A gentle and sweet voice echoed through the room. Both fathers smiled at the same time. They carefully held up their phones, sending voice messages to Wenya to comfort her. This scene felt all too familiar. Once upon a time, they used to comfort me in the same way. It turns out Dad is the same person, but his heart has changed. In their repeated little princess remarks, my heart grew cold, and I moved slowly toward the window. I'm afraid of pain, so I'm only considering gentle ways to go, but I can't wait any longer now. So, right in front of both of them, I climbed over the windowsill and jumped. Goodbye, two dads. 3. The imagined pain never came. I was blocked by a tree outside. After I was rescued, Mr. Jiang, pale-faced, stepped forward and slapped me. Shinsinan, are you done yet? Mr. Gu's expression wasn't much better either. His entire body was trembling, and he came up and kicked me too. Shinsinan, what exactly are you trying to do? I was kicked to the ground because I had just had my stomach pumped, and on top of that kick, the spot felt as if someone had stabbed a knife in and then twisted it hard. A foul, fishy smell rose from the stomach to the mouth. I spat out the blood and then knelt before the two of them. Mr. Gu, Dr. Jiang, please don't worry about me anymore. Just let me die. They were both taken aback by my words. Father Gu frowned. Is this your new trick, threatening to kill yourself? No, I said with reddened eyes. I saw Mom's system. It said if I die, I can go to her. Please, don't stop me. Let me die. That way, you won't have to worry about me competing with Wenya for your affection, and you won't have to keep me trapped here out of suspicion. After Wenya's incident, fourth Father Yu Yin, who had a military background, punished me. He locked me in a dark room for 5 days and 5 nights. He shone a bright light in my eyes to keep me from sleeping. If I showed any urge to sleep, he would inject me with adrenaline. After 5 days, the first thing I did upon getting out was to beg my forefathers to let me leave, but they told me they wouldn't let me go. You dare to do such things right under our noses. If we let you go, who knows what you'll do to Xiaoya? That's right. We promised your mother we'd teach you properly. You can't leave. Perhaps it was because I mentioned Mom. Their expressions were no longer as grim as before, even showing a hint of the familiar gentleness I knew. Shinsinan, are you sure you saw the system that showed your mother? When Dad Gu helped me up and asked me this question, I told him honestly that it appeared this morning. Just as I was about to starve to death, 2 people exchanged a glance. Father Jiang said to me, Shinsinan, you might not know, but when your mother left, she said her system would disappear after the mission was completed, so you might just be having hallucinations. I shook my head. No, it's not that. It really is my mom's system. Dr. Jiang, please don't worry about me anymore. Just let me die. The word death made Father Jiang's face grow even more grim. He held back again and again, but in the end couldn't restrain himself. Whether this is a hallucination or not isn't for you to decide. We'll arrange for you to see a psychologist. After speaking, he patted my head just as he had before. His expression was rather odd. Actually, for 3 years now, we've discussed it. As long as you promise not to appear in front of Xiaoya again, we won't take any further action. His words had barely faded. Second uncle and fourth uncle appeared before us. Big brother, third brother, have you seen Yaya? Gu's father and Zhang's father froze in place. Wasn't Yaya just with you all a moment ago? Second dad Qin Xiao was frantic. She took a call and just disappeared. She said a classmate wanted to give her a gift, so she went out to get it. Could it be? The faces of all 4 fathers instantly darkened. They remembered that 3 years ago, also on Wenya's birthday, a classmate had called and asked her to go out. Then she was accosted by a few thugs. They all turned their eyes toward me in unison. Upon meeting their gaze, I trembled with fear. Without a word spoken, I suddenly understood. No, it's not me. Why isn't it you? Father Gu roared, grabbing my collar like a madman. Shinsinan, no wonder you've been trying to die all day, so you could get our attention. Where have you taken Xiaoya? I shook my head. No, I really don't. However, how could angry Father Gu listen to me? Shinsinan, you still don't know repentance. You wanted to die, right? Fine, I'll grant your wish today. He raised his fist to hit me. At the critical moment, fourth father stepped forward, gripping his arm and reminding him, Big brother, not here. So many people are watching. Father Gu stopped, shot me a sharp glance, and whispered, take her home. The atmosphere in the car was heavy. Several dads are calling to look for Wenya. I cowered in the corner, trembling, I know a storm is coming. They pulled me off the vehicle only after it came to a stop. The sight of the house before me made me lose control instantly. It was the place where I had once stayed. Physiological fear made me kneel. I really don't know where Wenya went. Please, just let me go. Father Jiang grabbed my head, his voice cold. You wanted to die, didn't you? After all these years as father and daughter, we'll give you a proper send-off. I'm trembling all over. I want to die, but I'm afraid it'll hurt. Yet, since they're all here, how could they possibly let me go? They dragged me into the house. Dozens of strong men were already standing inside. Fourth father threw me to the ground, furrowed his brow, and instructed with the frustration of seeing unrefined iron, teach her to behave properly. Countless hands reached out. I felt someone grip my limbs, and someone else drive nails into my flesh. My entire body ached. I'm desperately calling for help. Just as I called out Dad a few times, seeing that the men were about to turn violent, Jiang Zhouxing couldn't bear it and called for a stop. He stepped forward and said to me, Shen Sinan, if you tell us where you've taken Yaya, we can let you go out of respect for your mother. I cried. I don't know. I really don't know. I didn't do this. Jiang Zhouxing still wanted to say something. Father Yu stepped forward and grabbed him. Third brother, don't you know what she's like? If we don't get serious, she won't admit it. All these years, has she ever admitted to bullying Yaya? A strange light flickered in Jiang Zhouxing's eyes. Finally, he waved his hand and said, do it. With those words, my chance of survival was gone as the pain in my body intensified. I stopped crying out. In my days, I seemed to see my mother's face. Go ahead and fight. I'm really going to see Mom. The four fathers continued making phone calls without pause. Finally, a familiar number called Gu Dad's phone. Xiaoya, where are you? Wenya's voice sounded in the room. Gu Dad, I'm out having a meal with classmates. Why have you all called me so many times? The four of them were stunned in unison. Weren't you kidnapped? Wenya chuckled. What are you talking about? How could I possibly be kidnapped? Anyway, I'm heading home now. Meanwhile, the butler's phone call came in, said they'd picked up Wenya. They breathed a sigh of relief. Thank goodness Xiaoya is safe, Mr. Jiang sighed with relief. Then suddenly his eyes widened. Shen Sinan, they finally remembered my existence. At that time, Dad told the people in the room to stop. They walked toward me, and after calling my name a few times with no response, Shen Sinan, stop pretending. We found him. We'll consider this as us being wrong about you this time. Uncle Gu squatted down and nudged me, but I still didn't react. Then he realized that I had stopped crying out in pain long ago. His heart sank as he reached his hand under my nose. It's a pity. I've already stopped breathing, for just when I thought I was about to see my mom, the system has reappeared, indicating there's a minor issue with the program, so we might need to wait a bit before proceeding. I nodded. I've been apart from my mother for so many years. A few more days won't make a difference. So I observed the reactions of these four people in the form of a soul. Feeling that I had stopped breathing, Gu Ye's legs went weak, and he collapsed to the ground instantly. He pushed me gently, his voice trembling. Shen Sinan, stop pretending, wake up. His unusual behavior caught the attention of the other three dads. As a doctor, Jiang Zhouxing rushed forward first, checking my pulse with 2 fingers. In an instant, his face turned ashen. Call 120 quickly, ignoring the stunned onlookers. He tore open my clothes and immediately began CPR. Yu Yan was also stunned. How could this be? She must be faking her death. Now, only second uncle retained a shred of rationality. With a grim expression, he picked up his phone and dialed the emergency number. Soon, an ambulance came screaming to the scene. By the time I reached the hospital, several highly respected doctors had been summoned directly. Yet, after 3 full hours of frantic effort, the line on the monitor representing my heartbeat remained flat. Everyone gave up. Only Jiang Zhouxing continued to press down on my chest. Shen Sinan, I forbid you to die. You haven't atoned for your sins enough. How dare you? Believe me, I'll lock you back in that dog cage. His voice was utterly despairing. No one around dared to step forward and try to stop him. Finally, the hospital director could bear it no longer. He stepped up and grasped his arm. Dr. Jiang, stop. Don't you dare stop me. Jiang Zhouxing shoved the man away forcefully. If you won't save her, I will. She won't die. She didn't die the previous times, and she won't die this time either. He kept pressing on my chest like a madman. Jiang Zhouxing, the dean couldn't take it anymore. Just let her go. It's been 3 hours already. You've broken her ribs. Even if she were still alive, she couldn't endure this pain. Jiang Zhouxing finally let go. He looked at my corpse. My face was pale. My lips were purple, and my body was covered in wounds large and small, with blood soaking through my clothes. And right there on my chest, It had caved in completely. Only then did Jiang Zhouxing realize that it had been a very, very long time since he had looked at me like this, that sweet, soft, and chubby little girl he used to hold in his arms when she was young. I don't know when it started, but I'd become as thin as a bamboo stick from malnutrition. Grief welled up from the depths of his heart, his body went limp, and he buried his face in his hands, weeping bitterly. The doctor present didn't know how to persuade him, so he just patted his shoulder and left. The people in the emergency room are walking out. A few moments later, the door was pushed open again. The other 3 dads rushed in a panic. The first to speak was second father, third brother. How is Shen Xinan doing? Jiang Zhouxing remained silent, but the 3 of them also saw that I on the platform had already been covered with a white sheet. What this meant went without saying. Gu Yi stepped forward, grabbed the white sheet, but as he was about to pull it back, he retreated 2 steps, turned around, and punched Yu Yan in the face. This is all your fault. You arranged for those people to go after her. You're the one who got her killed. Gu Yi was hysterical. Yu Yan was even more distraught. Is it my fault? Weren't you the one who first suggested sending her off? The 2 of them soon started brawling. Everyone watching knew that the 2 of them weren't fighting to actually hit each other. It was all to vent their anger. Finally, the 2 were pulled apart. Second Uncle Su Ting scolded, "That's enough from both of you. If we're talking about fault, all 4 of us are at fault, but the biggest mistake still lies with Shen Xinan, right? If she hadn't done that kind of thing back then, how could we have misunderstood her today?" Jiang Zhouxing's face showed pain, but he chimed in agreement. Second brother is right. All of this is Shen Xinan's own fault, brought on by herself. Who knows? Maybe she died just to see this scene. Don't be fooled by her. Today is Yaya's 18th birthday. We still need to celebrate her coming-of-age ceremony. At the mention of Wenya, the group quieted down, perhaps because she had been waiting for the 4 of them to return home without success. Wenya called Gu Yi at that moment. Gu Yi answered the call, and sobs came through from the other end. Dad Gu, I was beaten by Shen Xinan again. 5. The scene fell silent, leaving only Wenya's soft sobs. It took Gu Yi a long time to speak. Who hit you? Wenya said. Shen Xinan. Gu Yi asked again. When? Just half an hour ago. Wenya felt he was acting strangely today. Mr. Gu, do you know where the other 3 dads are? Can you come back soon? I'm so scared. Amidst her sobs, Gu Yi rubbed his temples. Wenya, Shen Xinan is dead. Silence fell instantly. His voice was cold. She was still in critical condition half an hour ago. How could she have hit you? The line went silent. 5 hours later, the 4 dads returned home. Wenya stood in the living room, watching them run past. Her eyes were red, clearly having been crying. Dad Gu, what's going on? Is Shen Xinan really dead? Gu Yi was in a bad mood and ignored her. Wenya's expression grew even more pouty as she turned to Jiang Zhouxing, acting coquettishly. Daddy Jiang, were you 2 together just now? Did you both hear everything? Wenya started crying again. Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lie on purpose. I was just scared. You didn't come back for so long, and I was afraid you didn't want me anymore. Every time Wenya cried, her dads would soften. This time was no exception. She had suffered too much abroad. It was said that when Dad Gu found her, she was sitting in a trash can, eating garbage. In Dad's heart, she lacks a sense of security and is much more pitiable than I, who have enjoyed 16 years of comfort. So, after Wenya apologized repeatedly, the dads all let out a sigh and comforted her, telling her not to cry. Dad Gu's mood was still low, but he also spoke up. It's not your fault. Shen Xinan left you with psychological trauma, and so, the matter was considered settled. After discussing among several fathers, they still decided to hold a funeral for me. After all, they raised me, so they still have some affection for me. Moreover, my mother really helped them a lot. Few people attended the funeral, because I've been locked in a dog cage all these years. I couldn't go to school and lost contact with my old friends. I watched my own funeral calmly. The system's voice sounded. Nan, it's time to go. My heart thumped a few times. Finally, I'm going to see my mother. Just as I was preparing to leave with the system, it spoke again. Wait, I don't want to let Wenya off so easily. Give me a moment. Just as I was feeling puzzled, a tall man appeared before me. My eyes widened. That's when I realized the system could take human form. Before I could even ask, the system walked toward the 4 dads. I don't know what he said, but the 4 dads paused, then followed him. I followed as well. They left the cemetery and headed straight for the villa, finally stopping in front of Wenya's room. 4 dads stared at each other in silence when a suggestive sound of water came from inside. Honey, don't leave any marks on me. The other 4 will notice. It's Wenya. No wonder you were so bold today, inviting me here. So that little bitch is dead. Another male voice sent a shiver through everyone. Once You've heard it, you'll never forget. This is the same delinquent who assaulted Winya 3 years ago. After he identified me, the forefathers wanted to send him to prison. In the end, Winya stopped him, saying they don't want to make a big deal out of it and don't want to lose their reputation. What's going on? All doubts were soon cleared up. The man panted heavily. It's better that she's dead. Now you have no worries, otherwise, you'd have to keep acting every day, deceiving your 4 dads. The 4 idiots were really stupid. Back then, they believed it was that little slut who ordered me, just because we said so. They didn't even notice how terrified she was when she saw me. How could she dare to order me? Winya smiled. My mom said the same thing. Those 4 are easy to fool. If she hadn't faked her death back then and arranged for someone to act out that call to Guyi, we'd still be drifting abroad. Laughter echoed from within. The 4 people outside seemed frozen in place by something. About 3 minutes later, Yu Yan was the first to move. He kicked the door open and strode inside. Then the 3 of them walked in one after another. Screams, shouts, and cries intertwined. System prompt asks me, is it satisfying? I nodded. You did it on purpose. Damn, I've had it with these 4 for a long time. They hurt your mother back then, and now they're hurting you. The system cursed. A bunch of idiots. Should we go in and check? Winya might be torn apart. I shook my head and tugged at his sleeve. Take me with you. I want to see Mom. The system paused for a moment, then said, all right. He casually pointed, and a black hole appeared before him. I walked straight in. Just as I was about to disappear, I heard someone calling my name. Shinsinan, Nan. It's the voices of the dads this time. I won't look back. 6. Through the black hole, I arrived in a cozy room. The air was filled with the fragrance of flowers. I called out to the system a few times, but got no response. Just as I was about to go out and take a look, the bedroom door opened and a beautiful woman stepped out. The moment she saw me, she froze. I recognized her at the same time. My mother, Shani. She was as beautiful as the person in the photograph. Just as I was at a loss, my mother burst into tears. She rushed over and hugged me, crying, is it Nan? Is it my Nan? In an instant I wept like rain. That same day, my mother told me about what happened back then, just as the system had told me. She took on the mission for her gravely ill grandmother, and it was for her grandmother that she returned. She has been waiting for me. Mom thought, even if you don't want to come back, I'll always keep a room for you. Hearing this, my nose tingled with emotion, and I asked about her grandmother. Grandma is in the countryside. I'll take you to see her when we have time. Grandma recovered very well. After she fully recovered from her illness, she returned to the countryside. After that, Mom worked hard in this city all by herself. When she learned that I hadn't attended school since I was 16, she pulled some strings and got me enrolled in a regular high school. Even though they were 2 different worlds, the knowledge taught in high school turned out to be exactly the same. I go to school every day. When I get home, my mom has a meal ready, and in the evenings, she finds all sorts of topics to chat with me about. The distance between us gradually closed, and the gap of over a decade in between was slowly being filled. Just when I thought these days would go on forever, the system came knocking again, this time in human form. I just realized that the system is actually a person from this world. He works for a metaverse company, and all 4 of his fathers are characters from books. He said the world where the 4 fathers reside is about to collapse, and asked if I would be willing to go back to see them. I exclaimed in surprise. Me? The system nods. He told me that after learning the truth from 3 years ago, the 4 fathers went mad. They first locked up Winya and the young delinquent. How I died. Winya died the same way. However, what was different was that Winya did not die so quickly. As long as she showed the slightest sign of dying, Jiang Zhouxing would revive her with the best medicine, and before she had even recovered, he would continue to torment her. The system's voice was flat, but I still detected a hint of schadenfreude. I didn't know just how ruthless the 4 dads' methods were until I went through it myself. Death is not scary. A life worse than death is what's truly terrifying. After Wenya's death, the 4 dads began to challenge the authority of that world, turning the entire world upside down. Their anomalous behavior alerted the main system, which then came looking for the system. The system appeared before the 4 of them. 4 fathers told him they wanted to see me, and if I didn't show up, the whole world would collapse. Having said that, I thought the system would advise me to meet them. Who would have thought he'd say, Nan, if you don't want to go, then don't go. Just let that world collapse. Those 4 beasts deserve it. I was a bit surprised, but I still told him that I was willing to meet them. But this matter shouldn't be mentioned to Mom. I've just returned to Mom's side. If she finds out I went to see them, she might overthink it. But as soon as the words left my mouth, the door was suddenly pushed open. With tears in her eyes, Mom said, Nan, I'll go with you. Those 4 beasts, I entrusted you to them, not so they could mistreat you because of another child. A secret kept for so long was finally discovered by Mom, however. Before going to see the dads, Mom told me she had long suspected I wasn't doing well there. I curl up into a ball when I sleep at night, and even talk in my sleep, saying things like, "I'm sorry, dads, I won't do it again." She just didn't bring it up, afraid it might upset me. Under the system's arrangement, we soon met with the forefathers. Before I even pushed open the villa's door, I could smell the scent of smoke and alcohol in the air. The forefathers sat on the sofa, their faces filled with grief. As the door was opened, all four of them looked over in unison. Nan Nan, Nan Nan, Nan Nan, Nan Nan. Several people stood up and ran toward me. Just as they were about to reach me, another figure stepped in front of them. After seeing clearly the person in front of me, the four dads were even more ecstatic. "Shani, you're back too." 7. For a moment, the four dads were like monkeys in a zoo, jumping and dancing with joy. Especially Gu Yi, overwhelmed with emotion, was on the verge of tears. "Shani, you're here too. How wonderful. I never thought I'd see you again in my lifetime." "Great." Jiang Zhouxing strode forward, eager to embrace both my mother and me. "You've both changed back. Now that you're back, don't leave again. We've missed you so much." But just as his hand reached out, Mom didn't hesitate to slap him. "Jiang Zhouxing, how did you take care of my child?" The scene suddenly fell silent. Gu Yi also stepped forward. "Shani, listen to us." His words were also left unfinished. Mother's other slap landed as well. Then the remaining two dads filled in without exception. I stared at this scene in astonishment. There was only one thought in my mind, so satisfying. My mom is so cool. After 4 crisp slaps, each of the four fathers bore a neat handprint on his face, yet they showed no trace of anger. Instead, seeming somewhat nostalgic, Yu Yan even offered his other cheek, saying, "Shani, this side deserves a slap too." My mother naturally fulfilled their request. By the time it was over, the atmosphere suddenly became very strange. 4 big men surrounding my mom, apologizing. "Shani, you're right to be angry. What happened with Nan Nan was our fault. We shouldn't have brought Wenya back. But we never expected Wenya to be like this. She's already taken care of Wenya, and no one will ever bully Nan Nan again. Come back with Nan Nan. We miss you so much." They spoke up one after another, promising Mom that they would deal with every single person in this world who dared to bully me. "Really?" Mom glanced at their faces. "If it's all taken care of, why are the 4 of you still here?" The four fathers fell silent at once. Mother sneered, "Aren't you the ones who've been bullying my daughter all along? Weren't you the ones who locked her in a dog cage? Weren't you 4 who hired people to hurt her? Weren't you the ones who drove her to death just because of that person's daughter?" The 4 of them instantly turned deathly pale. Gu Ye's lips moved slightly. "Shani, we were deceived by Wenya too. From the start, we genuinely regarded Nan Nan as our own daughter. I believe this statement ever since I was little. Everyone has envied me for having 4 powerful, influential fathers. They spoiled me rotten. Anything I wanted, they would provide, but later, they truly came to hate me." Jiang Zhouxing suddenly shifted his gaze to me. He walked towards me, and I took a step back in fright. Jiang Zhouxing let out a bitter laugh. "Nan Nan, you're afraid of me." "I'm sorry, Nan Nan." Dad Jiang broke his promise. "I said I would protect you, that I would make you a little princess, but in the end, you..." He suddenly began to cry, stepping forward to grab my hand and slapping it against his own face. "Hit me. In truth, I've always been so grateful to have you. We said we were raising you, but really, it was you who kept us company." 8. His words resonated with the other 3 fathers. They all turned around to apologize to me, telling me about what happened before, proving that they love me. Dad Gu told me, "Actually, many of the things we said weren't really our own words. Telling you to live in a dog kennel, not letting you eat well on a daily basis, those were all instructions from Wenya. We were just supposed to give you a lesson, never intending to abuse you." Surrounded by them, I was so frightened that I took several steps back. Finally, Mom steadied me and asked, "Nan Nan, what are you thinking? Are you willing to forgive them?" I looked at the 4 fathers before me, full of anticipation, and finally shook my head. "No, I will never forgive them." That one short sentence made the 4 fathers turn pale. Just as they were about to speak again, Mother suddenly held a gun in her hand, her voice icy cold. "Then it settled. Kill them all." I felt a jolt in my heart as I looked at the gun. Before I could react, Mom had already taken out all 4 of them in a single burst. The 4 fathers seemed equally taken aback by how resolute Mother was. Just before death, every face was etched with disbelief. I stared at my mother in astonishment. She smiled at me. "Don't be afraid, they deserved it." "That's not it. Where did the gun come from?" Mom touched her nose. "Before I took on the mission to deal with them, I had another task. Zombie hunting, no wonder. 4 male leads died, and the entire world began to collapse. I returned to the original world with my mother. Mom decided to take me to visit my grandmother, but as soon as we stepped out, we ran into the system that had been waiting for a long time. He clung to us like a stubborn plaster, saying that with the male leads dead and the world collapsing, he had been fired by the main system and was now homeless, begging us, mother and child, to take him in. Mother refused and told him to leave the system. Whimpered pitifully, how can you just discard someone after using them? Didn't you say you were willing to? As if afraid I might hear something I shouldn't. Mom covered his mouth. She twisted his ear and pulled him aside to whisper, and I had long since noticed the ambiguity between the two of them. Finally, Mom let the system join us on the journey. After arriving at the destination, the system volunteers to carry the gift. I finally asked my mother the question that had been weighing on my heart all this time. Mom, who is my real father? Mom whispered a name in my ear. My eyes widened. How could it be him? And, story 2, I've been married to Chinshu for 3 years, and people outside all say that we are affectionate and well-matched, but only I know that he has slept in the guest room for 3 years. He has never touched me. I placed the divorce agreement on his desk, wanting to set him free. However, I accidentally saw the open diary on the desk. Today, after she took a shower, she forgot to take away the clothes she changed out of. I held back for a long time, but still couldn't control myself and hid one piece. I hope she won't notice. I froze. So the underwear that was lost before was all taken by him. In the middle of the diary on the desk, there was a black and gold fountain pen clipped. It wasn't the one I gave to Chinshu, but the underwear mentioned as taken in the diary, it was the one I just bought last week. Thinking carefully, over the past 3 years, the nightgowns and underwear I had lost added up to more than 20 pieces. I thought it might have been blown away by the strong wind, or I might have forgotten to bring them back when I went on a trip. I never suspected Chinshu just because of his cold and aloof personality. After getting married, we have always treated each other with respect. When he talks to me, he doesn't even glance elsewhere. How could he do such a thing? But last night, Chinshu said that there was no hot water in the faucet of the guest bathroom. He borrowed my bathroom to take a shower. It only took about half an hour in total, and he even said thank you when he left. I didn't suspect it at all. I didn't expect that it was him who took it, but he couldn't wear my personal clothes. What on earth did he take them for? Suddenly, some inappropriate images popped into my mind. My face felt hot, and I didn't dare to think about it in detail. I really wanted to go up and read the previous content of the diary. I also wanted to rush into the guest room and rummage through his wardrobe, but that would be too unethical. I calmed down. I decided to pretend that I hadn't seen anything. I turned around and closed the door of the study, and that divorce agreement was also stuffed into the drawer of the dressing table by me. Whether it's true or false, I'll find out by trying. Chinshu came back early tonight. When he came back and saw that the lights in the living room were off, he called out to me, Song Jinyan. I braced myself and walked out of the bedroom. You're back. I didn't cook dinner tonight. Chinshu still had that serious expression. He always calls me by my full name, but I've read the diary just thinking that with this cold face of his, he secretly did that with my nightgown. I simply couldn't look him in the eye. He didn't notice anything unusual at all and handed me a blue gift bag. It's okay, we can just eat out. This is a gift for you. I reached out and took it. My handbag accidentally touched the tip of his finger. I quickly withdrew my hand. Chinshu's eyes darkened a bit, but soon returned to normal. Today is our 3rd wedding anniversary. The gift I prepared for him was the divorce agreement, but he bought me a string of pearl necklace. I suppressed my complex emotions and said softly, sorry, I forgot to prepare a gift. Fortunately, he didn't care. It doesn't matter. I don't lack anything. This necklace suits you very well, so I bought it on a whim. I whispered my thanks. Chinshu said indifferently, you're welcome. Pack up. I'll book a restaurant. I changed into a strapless velvet dress and put on a fur shawl over it. I wore the pearl necklace he gave me. This outfit wasn't too gaudy, and it showed off my temperament. When I opened the door, Chinshu looked up and was obviously stunned for a moment. Our eyes met, and my heart suddenly started beating faster. Before I could say anything, he had already retracted his gaze. Let's go. Looking at his cold back, I secretly thought, let's see how long you can pretend. In the restaurant, the temperature was a bit high. I was just about to take off my shawl. He suddenly looked up and stared at me. Chinshu has sharp facial features and deep eyes and brows because of wearing glasses. He seems less aggressive and more refined, but at this moment, I saw danger in his eyes. Wah, what's wrong? It's okay, I'll go out and smoke a cigarette. As soon as he left, that suffocating feeling suddenly eased a lot. I thought he was going to eat me just now. During the meal, Chinshu said that he would be on vacation these few days. He asked me if I wanted to go home. Actually, according to my plan, I intended to confront Chin-Shu, sign the divorce agreement, and then go back. After my family went bankrupt, my father's mental state was not good for a while. He rented a house in our hometown and grew flowers and vegetables. He gradually adjusted. My father always thought that Chin-Shu and I had a good relationship. I haven't told him about the divorce yet. If I go back with Chin-Shu, that divorce agreement will have to be put aside for a while. Chin-Shu was waiting for my reply. I could only force a dry laugh and said, okay, if you're not busy, then let's go back together. When we left, Chin-Shu didn't leave at the door. I looked at him. Did you leave something behind? His gaze fell on my shoulder, looking obscure. Put on your shawl properly. Perhaps he realized that his tone was too cold and harsh. He softened his voice and added, it's cold outside. After taking a shower, I looked at the clothes I had changed out of in the laundry basket. I thought of the new bra I had lost. It was a low-cut style with a circle of white lace. I liked it very much. I don't know where Chin-Shu hid it. I deliberately left the nightgown I had changed out of behind. Chin-Shu would come to borrow the bathroom again tonight. If the nightgown was gone, then there would be conclusive evidence. Sure enough, after a while, Chin-Shu knocked on the door. He still had that cold face. Sorry, I need to borrow it one more time tonight. I smiled at him and said generously, it doesn't matter, go ahead. Listening to the sound of water in the bathroom, every second felt like a year to me. I kept looking at the same page of a book. Finally, Chin-Shu came out. He looked normal and said softly, go to bed early. Good night. Yeah, good night. As soon as he left, I immediately rushed into the bathroom. Sure enough, my nightgown, it was gone. I was both ashamed and angry. I stormed to the door of the guest room. Just as I was about to knock, I suddenly heard a few suppressed groans coming from the crack of the door. This, he couldn't be. My face burned hot. I was afraid of seeing an embarrassing scene. I could only turn around and go back to my room. I had been thinking wildly all day, which caused me to have a strange dream at night. In the dream, Chin-Shu was wearing my underwear. He asked me if he looked good. I called him a pervert. Then he laughed softly and pressed towards me, whispering in my ear, Nian Nian, then you wear it. Just wear it for me. Okay. The next morning when I got up, I had two big dark circles under my eyes. Chin-Shu was already on the phone with my father. My father was happy to hear that we were going back to stay for a few days. He said he was going to kill an old hen and make soup. The two of them chatted on the phone, and the familiar atmosphere made it seem like we were really a family. I packed my luggage with mixed feelings. Actually, Chin-Shu has been nice to me. He supported me to continue painting. He didn't make unreasonable demands on me because he saved my family from a difficult situation. On the contrary, he respected me a lot. People outside all say that we have a deep relationship and are an enviable couple. I also had feelings for him, but he attributed all his kindness to repaying a favor. I couldn't help but think that perhaps he just regarded me as a younger sister and took care of me. Apart from having a marriage certificate, there was no real relationship between us at all. But now, just thinking that my nightgown might be hidden in his suitcase, I felt my scalp go numb. His seriousness was all just an act. I closed the suitcase and put away my complex emotions. I made up my mind that when I came back from my father's place, I would end this absurd marriage alliance. On the way back, it would take nearly 6 hours to drive. Chin-Shu has a slight cleanliness obsession, so I didn't open any of the big bag of snacks he brought me. I lay in the back seat and played games. Chin-Shu looked at me through the rearview mirror. Aren't there any snacks you like? Wrong, he bought all the snacks I like, but this is his car, and I still need to respect his cleanliness obsession, so I said stubbornly, oh, I'm not hungry. Halfway through, Chin-Shu parked the car at the service area. When I came out of the restroom, he was standing under a camphor tree making a phone call. The sunlight shone through the leaves and fell on him. Chin-Shu, who took off his suit and was wearing a shirt, looked a bit more youthful. He flicked the ash, brought the cigarette to his lips, and took a deep puff. He tilted his head back and exhaled the smoke. His tall and straight shoulders and back relaxed at this moment. When he turned his head and saw me, there was still a faint smile on his lips. Okay, I'll hang up now. Call me if you have anything. This gentle and modest appearance, it must be an act too. As soon as I got in the car, I covered myself with a coat and pretended to be asleep. I was afraid that he would talk to me again. Chin-Shu drove very steadily. I pretended to be asleep, and gradually, I really fell asleep. When I woke up, my father had already opened the car door and was calling me to get out. Nian Nian, you've been sleeping all the way, girl. Didn't you switch with Chin-Shu and drive for a while? Before I could say anything, Chin-Shu looked at me and smiled, saying, it's okay, she's not familiar with my car. It's better to let her sleep a little longer. You slept so much during the day. Will you be able to fall asleep at night? Chin-Shu said softly, if you can't Fall asleep, then don't. It's a rare vacation. With this understated sentence I felt a chill down my back. I quickly got out of the car and rushed towards the yard. As soon as I entered the house, I smelled the fragrant smell of chicken soup. Dad, I'm starving. Let's have dinner quickly. Okay, let you two taste Dad's cooking. Xiaoshu, take her to wash her hands and keep an eye on her. Don't let her steal food. Qinshu carried my suitcase, followed my father, and replied with a smile. Okay, I'll watch her. When I heard Qinshu's voice, my body tensed up. As soon as he came in, I quickly went out. My father's yard is spacious and bright. He also planted a lot of flowers, and I don't even know their names. After washing my hands, I squatted down and took a few photos and sent them to my friends. While I was typing, Qinshu suddenly appeared behind me. This is the weeping Jasmine. I was startled and quickly stood up. I lost my balance and almost fell. Qinshu reacted very quickly. He grabbed my arm and pulled me into his arms. Be careful. The clean and refreshing fragrance on him wafted into my nose. As soon as he got close, I just felt my heart beating faster. Suddenly, when you like someone, you will feel that even the smell on him is alluring. Just as I was about to push him away, my father came out of the kitchen with the chicken soup. Let's eat. Oops, I didn't see anything. You two can continue. Qinshu let go of me, and I immediately rushed into the house. It was so embarrassing. It was really too embarrassing. After dinner, I realized an even more embarrassing problem. My father said that he had only tidied up one guest room. One room, I exclaimed. My father looked at me in confusion. It's just the two of you staying. Isn't one room enough? Qinshu interrupted. It's enough, thank you, Dad, for your trouble. As he spoke, his deep eyes kept looking at me. It made me feel uneasy. I lay on the bed thinking about it. I decided to send a message to Qinshu. How about you go out and play mahjong with my dad tonight? Qinshu, I'm tired from driving. Well, after driving for more than 6 hours, he was indeed very tired. Then I'll sleep outside and watch TV all night. Qinshu, there's no heating in the living room. Then what should I do? I can't really sleep in the same bed with Qinshu. Can I? I'm not sure if I can control myself. I carefully replied to him. But it's not very convenient for us to sleep together, is it? This time, Qinshu didn't reply. Immediately, I heard the sound of him chatting with my father outside. I was pacing around anxiously in the bedroom. Since he didn't reply to me, does that mean there's no room for discussion? After a while, Qinshu came back. I covered myself with the quilt and pretended to be asleep. I heard the sound of him taking a shower in the bathroom. The atmosphere became even more tense. What's more, I slept for more than 3 hours during the day, and now I'm not sleepy at all. The night in the countryside was extremely quiet. I could hear every movement he made. The sound of water in the bathroom stopped. Qinshu was drying his hair. He opened the door and came closer. The mattress sank a bit. The familiar fragrance wafted over. He was using my body wash. I swallowed my saliva. I tried my best to steady my breathing. Qinshu is tall and has long legs. As soon as he got into the bed, his foot accidentally touched my calf. Sorry, it's okay. Aren't you asleep? Aren't you stuffy under the quilt? The air almost froze. I kept my eyes tightly closed and pretended that it wasn't me who had just spoken. But Qinshu leaned closer. The rich fragrance of flowers was warmed by his body temperature. I never realized before that this fragrance could make people think wildly. I held my breath and continued to pretend to be asleep. Jinyan, did you read the diary I put on the desk? I opened my eyes instantly, lifted the quilt, and explained. I didn't read it. Unexpectedly, I just bumped into his dark eyes. His brows furrowed slightly. TSK, you didn't read it. It's my fault. I didn't put it in a conspicuous enough place. What did he mean by that disappointed tone? Was he revealing the truth and not pretending anymore? Was he admitting that he stole my clothes? I lifted the quilt, planning to question him properly. Unexpectedly, he grabbed my wrist and said in a low voice, after 3 years, are you still so afraid of me? As he spoke, he leaned over and pressed towards me. His voice was hoarse, and he murmured in my ear, but I don't want to hold back anymore. Nyan, it hurts so much for me to hold back. If you don't believe me, touch it. My fingertips touched the hot and delicate skin. I quickly withdrew my hand. My ears were burning. Qinshu, are you crazy? He drank a couple more glasses of wine while chatting with my father during dinner tonight. It was the wine my father brewed himself, and it had a high alcohol content. At the moment, there was a faint blush on his cold white skin. There was a layer of mist in his eyes, and he looked at me pitifully. You don't want to touch me. He was really drunk. That disappointed tone made the hair on my body stand up. Tonight, Qinshu shed his usual cold appearance after taking a shower. His short, black, and fluffy hair softened his sharp features. With his glasses off, his long eyelashes made him look vulnerable and easy to bully. Remembering the content written in his diary, I tentatively asked him, Qinshu, Have you had too much to drink? No, then. Did you take my nightgown? Yes, I did. What did you do with it after you took it? Chinshu fell into memories, and his Adam's apple rolled violently. He said in a hoarse voice, I did some bad things. I couldn't help but think of that suppressed gasp I heard outside the guest room door that day. There was a mixture of pain and pleasure in it. It's easy to guess what he was doing. My face suddenly turned completely red. He secretly wrote in the diary and secretly took my nightgown for DIY, is it? So hard for him to say that he likes me. I must make him say it out loud. I pretended to be angry and glared at him. What exactly are those bad things? Chinshu looked at me with his dark eyes. He crawled on his knees a few steps and trapped me at the head of the bed. Nyan, I can't say it. Can I show it instead? Show, always show. That's all he knows. With a blushing face, I pushed him away. Chinshu wasn't prepared. He fell backward onto the quilt. His hands were propped behind him under the warm yellow bedside lamp. He looked up with a startled expression. His chest rose and fell rapidly from the loose collar of his pajamas. His collarbone and pectoral muscles under his Adam's apple could be vaguely seen. The lines were clean and neat, paired with his indifferent-looking face. It's so unfair. You go and sleep with my dad. He lowered his head, glanced at his pajama pants, and said bitterly, Nyan. In my current state, it's not convenient for me to go out. I followed his gaze instantly. I felt ashamed and annoyed. Chinshu, how could you be like this? He let out a soft sigh. I've always been like this. I was afraid of scaring you, so I slept in a separate room. But you can't just endure it for 3 years. Sorry, if you don't like it, I'll control myself. I was impulsive tonight because I drank alcohol. If I touch you again, there's a real possibility of getting hurt. Nyan, you go to sleep first. I'll go to the bathroom. I immediately understood what he wanted to do. I got into the quilt and stopped looking at him, but he didn't move and just sat by the bedside looking at me. I stuck my head out. What are you doing? Don't tell me you want me to help you. Chinshu's body stiffened, and he swallowed his saliva. Is that okay? Of course not. Then can I borrow your pajamas? Pretend, always pretend. He's still pretending. Wasn't that white silk nightgown from yesterday with you? That one, I accidentally tore it. It's only been one night. Does he have thorns on him? With a dark face, I gritted my teeth and said, Chinshu, that one of mine was very expensive. I'll buy you new ones. Many pieces. Don't even think about it. I only brought 2 back with me. But without your pajamas, it's very difficult for me to stop talking. Pervert. I really couldn't stand it anymore. I covered myself in the quilt and buried my completely red face, but I didn't know that Chinshu stood by the bedside, feeling as if he was about to fall apart. It took him a long time to say, sorry. That night, Chinshu didn't touch me. He also didn't go to the bathroom. Instead, he curled up at the end of the bed and slept there all night, not even taking a pillow. The next day, he said there were matters to deal with at the company, so he would go back first. He asked me to stay for a few more days. My dad didn't know what had happened between us, but after all, he had experienced a lot. When Chinshu was speaking, his eyes were always fixed on me, but I avoided his gaze. After Chinshu left, he asked me if I had quarreled with Chinshu. I denied it. No, there's nothing to quarrel about with him. My dad was shelling edamame and said, Chinshu is a good kid. There's nothing to fault in his way of dealing with people and things. However, I think he might not have understood the ways of love yet. In terms of relationships, he's like a piece of wood. I was slightly surprised. I didn't expect my dad to see it so accurately. What kind of normal person doesn't say what's on their mind but writes it in a diary? He's really a thick-headed person. My dad laughed when he saw my depressed look. In his first year of work, a senior executive took a liking to him and deliberately got him drunk. When he was almost drunk, the executive wanted to take him to a hotel. Guess what that kid said? What did he say? My dad put on a serious face and imitated Chinshu's expressionless look. If you want to sleep with me, you're so disgusting, and you're really ugly. I opened my eyes wide and burst out laughing. Was he that brave? Didn't he offend the client? My dad smiled and shook his head. Exactly. The deal that was almost in his hands was about to be lost. Fortunately, I had a good relationship with the director of that company. We had a meal, and I smoothed things over. That kid was really promising. In the second year, he brought that senior executive down. Everyone in the circle knew about Chinshu's decisive way of handling things. No wonder my dad always said that among the children he sponsored, Chinshu was the most promising one. I also understood what Chinshu said to me on our wedding night. Song Jinyan, you don't have to feel burdened. Back then, Uncle Song gave me a hand, and it's only right that I repay him now. I'll sleep in the guest room from now on. Good night. My slight crush on him was completely extinguished by his few words, but Chinshu has always been a person who clearly distinguishes between kindness and hatred. The first time I met him was when I brought a friend home to play. Chinshu just came out of my dad's study. A clean and youthful aura rushed towards me. He was wearing a school uniform, tall and thin. His eyes were cold and unruly. He glanced at me, nodded at me, and then left. My friend asked me who that handsome guy was. I hid my instant amazement at him. I shrugged and said I didn't know either. Later, I asked my dad, and he said that Chinshu was a student he sponsored. He got a scholarship and came to return the money. My dad didn't accept it. I even joked at that time that he had a lot of backbone. Later, he was admitted to University A and came to my home to return the money again. My dad still didn't accept it. At that time, I thought that Chinshu was really stubborn and was afraid of owing others, but my dad said that he would definitely achieve something in the future. Sure enough, in the end, it was Chinshu who sorted out the mess of my family. I am grateful to him, but from the bottom of my heart, I'm also a bit afraid of him. My dad let out a sigh. Nyan, Dad is getting old. I'm truly happy from the bottom of my heart that you and Xiaoshu could be together, but if you're not happy with him, Dad doesn't want you to repay his favor for me. If you can't make it work, don't force yourself. I just want my precious daughter to have a happy marriage. My eyes became hot, and I turned my head away. Who said I'm not happy? I'm having a great time. He's just a man who appears tough on the outside but is actually timid on the inside and only dares to write his little thoughts in a diary. I'm going to ask him face to face and make it clear what he's really thinking. Either we separate, or we be together properly, just like a normal couple. I don't want to live in such confusion anymore. I booked a return flight ticket without telling Chinshu, but I never expected that. As soon as the plane landed, it was pouring rain outside. I was trying to hail a taxi when Chinshu's call came through. Nyan, Dad said you're back. Damn it, my dad betrayed me. I stammered, trying to figure out what to say. Yes, wait for me at the airport. I'll be there soon. Okay. The call ended. I looked outside the glass curtain wall, where the shadows of the trees were swaying in the rain. I remembered once when I came back from a trip. It was summer, and it was also pouring rain. I finally managed to take a taxi to the community. I ran all the way and got into the elevator, but I was still soaked through. When I got home, Chinshu frowned when he saw me. He seemed to be in a bad mood. When I came out after changing my clothes, he handed me a cup of hot ginger tea. He said simply, "Tell me in advance next time, I'll pick you up." However, I always felt that we weren't close. Apart from having a marriage certificate, we were nothing to each other. Chinshu didn't make me wait for long. I guess my dad told him the flight information. In the wind and rain, he held a black umbrella and walked towards me. Against the wind and rain, his leather shoes stepped into the puddles, and his trouser legs were all soaked. They stuck to his skin. He moved the umbrella aside, revealing his sharp and distant eyebrows and eyes. "Sorry, I'm late." My heart suddenly skipped a beat. I lifted the hem of my skirt and got under the umbrella. "You're not late." On the way back to the car, he tilted the umbrella completely towards me, and his clothes got soaked. He took off his suit, but the shirt underneath was also wet. It stuck to his firm muscles, and the curves were faintly visible. There was a clean towel in the storage compartment. I leaned over to help him wipe off the water droplets. Chinshu was taken aback. He awkwardly took the towel. "I can do it myself." He's avoiding me again. He's clearly soaked like this. I grabbed his collar and said forcefully, "You're all wet. Take this shirt off too." He suddenly looked up, and a trace of panic flashed in his eyes. "No need. We'll be home soon." "Yes, you need to. If you don't take it off, I'll do it for you." As I said that, I straddled over to the driver's seat. The space was a bit cramped, and Chinshu adjusted the seat. My heart was pounding like a drum. My fingertips touched the buttons of his shirt. Suddenly, I found that he was the same. His heart was beating so fast that it seemed out of control. Chinshu looked up, and his dark eyes stared at me without blinking. I, as if possessed, lowered my head. I kissed him on the lips. He froze, his hands spread out, not daring to move. Since I've already kissed him, biting the bullet, I simply kissed his chin again. When my kiss landed on his Adam's apple, Chinshu shuddered all over. He let out a muffled gasp. The next second, he used one hand to hold the back of my neck and kissed my lips. The raindrops cracked against the car window. The dim yellow light couldn't clearly illuminate the scene in the car. Only the shadows of the trees were swaying, as if they had something to say but held back. Chinshu couldn't stop. He was almost domineering and predatory. My mind was in a daze. The steering wheel was pressing against my lower back, and it hurt. When he released me with a heavy gasp, my lips were numb. He hugged me tightly and said in a hoarse voice, "Sorry." I was still in a trance, and at that moment, I only had one thought: let's go home first. Chinshu drove very fast all the way. After we got home, he asked me to take a shower first. When I came out, he had also changed his clothes and cooked dinner. I picked a bottle of red wine from the wine cabinet. I turned around and asked Chin-Shu, "Do you want to have a drink?" He looked at me. "Do you want to drink?" I explained, "Mainly, I think that if you drink some wine, you'll be a bit braver." Just like that night, he took the initiative to admit that he took my nightgown tonight. "You have to take the initiative to admit that you like me." Chin-Shu nodded. "Okay, then I'll keep you company." At the dinner table, he poured me a little less than half a glass of red wine. "Why didn't you wait for me to pick you up? I missed you." Chin-Shu's hand paused. It seemed that he couldn't believe what he had heard. I summoned up my courage and asked him, "Don't you miss me?" He nodded very seriously. During the meal, we didn't eat much food, but we drank most of the wine. I didn't know if it was the effect of the wine or because of his gaze, but my face was burning hot. I couldn't help but think of that kiss in the car. After the meal, Chin-Shu cleared the table. He cut a plate of fruit for me and sat beside me watching me eat. His gaze seemed to pierce through me, but he sat there properly, his fingers resting on his knees moved. I turned my face and asked him softly, "Do you want to hold hands?" Chin-Shu looked at me and nodded obediently. I directly took his hand. "If you want to hold hands, then hold hands." Chin-Shu's palm was very warm. Because of his fitness, there was a thin layer of callus on his palm. I didn't pay attention to what was on the TV anymore. My fingertips gently slid across his palm. Chin-Shu's body trembled. His ears turned completely red in an instant. "Nian Nian, do you want a kiss?" His gaze landed on my lips just as he was about to nod. I hooked my arm around his neck and kissed him. I didn't control the force well. The kiss was a bit too hard. I blushed and released him. "If you want to kiss, then kiss." I wanted to show him with my actions that he should just do what he wanted. He didn't have to always hold himself back, but Chin-Shu was stunned by my kiss. When our eyes met, his deep eyes were filled with desire. It was scary. I released his hand and stood up. "I'm going back to my room." Before I could finish speaking, Chin-Shu grabbed me and pulled me back. I fell onto his lap. While I was still in shock, Chin-Shu held the side of my neck with one hand and tilted his head to kiss me. His clean scent invaded freely. My consciousness was drawn into a sea of desire. His shoulder became my only driftwood. When I was almost out of breath, Chin-Shu released me. His big hand wandered along the side of my waist. He asked me in a hoarse voice, "Is this okay?" I looked at him and nodded gently. In the bedroom, the bedside lamp was turned off. The sound of the rain outside was very urgent, just like the hearts of Chin-Shu and me beating together. In the dark, we couldn't see each other's faces clearly, and it seemed to give me more courage. The warm kiss traveled down my neck. Chin-Shu's Adam's apple rolled. He let me tease him. I deliberately stopped and asked him, "Chin-Shu, do you like me?" Chin-Shu's voice was hoarse, and he said softly, "I like you, very much." "Since when?" "A very long time ago." I angrily bit him. "Then why didn't you say it? You even made me sleep alone on our wedding night." Chin-Shu let out a pained groan and reached out to stroke my hair. "Because I wasn't sure if you hated me." "You're blaming me first. Clearly, you rejected me first." I was heartbroken for a long time. "Do you know that?" "Sorry, back then, I took advantage of your difficult situation and married you when you were in a desperate situation. I have dirty thoughts and couldn't control myself. If you knew what I was thinking when I was sitting at the table with you, you would definitely think I'm disgusting." I kissed the red and swollen place where I had just bitten him. Chin-Shu's breath caught. He held my waist with a little skill and pressed me underneath him. He propped one hand beside the pillow. The other hand gently stroked my face. I deceived myself, thinking that we still had a long, long time. "One day, you would definitely accept me." But I accidentally heard you consulting a lawyer about divorce the other day. I was scared. I deliberately left the diary open on the table, hoping that you would come and question me after seeing it, or even hit me or scold me. But you didn't do anything, and I was even more panicked. I grabbed his right hand that was gradually moving downward. I said angrily, "Good for you, you actually eavesdropped on my phone call." "Humph. I really did prepare a divorce agreement and was going to divorce you, you tight-lipped guy." Before I could say the word, I summoned up my courage with the help of the wine. I pointed at him and said, "You said that. Don't go back on your word." Chin-Shu responded in a low voice, "Yeah, I said it." I pushed him away, leaned over, and turned on the bedside lamp. Then I covered myself with the quilt and reached to pick up the nightgown that had fallen to the ground. I threw it onto Chin-Shu. "Here, show me what you did with my nightgown. Do it again." Chin-Shu's eyes darkened instantly. The marks on his shoulders and chest hadn't faded yet. He looked both dangerous and charming. He let out a soft laugh and grabbed my wrist. "Nian Nian, are you sure this is a punishment for me?" Of course." Half an hour later, "Didn't you say you were going to punish me? Why are you begging for mercy so soon?" "My wife is stubborn. Come here and give me a kiss." I don't know when the Rain outside the window had stopped, but the sounds in the room showed no sign of stopping. Jinshu said that he would never write in the diary again. Everything he wanted to say and do, he would let me know without reservation. I rested my head on his arm and fell into a deep sleep. He was right, we still had a long time to fall in love with each other. Extra chapter. Jinshu, the first time I saw Song Jinyan, she walked into the house with laughter, facing the summer sunlight. She was so dazzling that it seemed unreal, but there was also a boy standing beside her. He was really an eyesore. I nodded at her and then left. I didn't even say hello to her. I had already heard Uncle Song mention his daughter. Uncle Song doted on her very much. After seeing her, I also wanted to dote on her, but I didn't deserve it. At least, I didn't deserve it at that time. I have the habit of keeping a diary. Perhaps Song Jinyan would never know. My first diary and my first fountain pen were given by her. She had a lot of stationery. She sorted out the ones she didn't need and asked Uncle Song to send them to us poor children. When I received those notebooks printed with cute pretty girl patterns, I was stunned for a long time. One of them was her diary. I know it's impolite to read someone else's diary, but I really didn't do it on purpose. That notebook was the only one that looked normal and didn't have colorful patterns. I opened the first page, and there was the delicate handwriting of a girl. September 1st, sunny, school has started. I bought a new notebook, and I'm going to write in my diary carefully. I hope my grades can improve a bit this year. My dad promised me that even if I only move up one place in the rankings, he will agree to let me go on a trip to Nepal with Xiaowu. I'm sure I can do it. Come on. The thick diary only had one page written by her, but she should have been to Nepal for a trip several times already, right? It was like I was longing for a fairy tale that I could never reach. On a whim, I picked up her ruby red fountain pen and started writing a continuation on the second page, as if in this way, I could have more connections with her world. I have always kept in touch with Uncle Song. I would occasionally visit his home, but I rarely met her. I laughed at myself for my wishful thinking, but I was also unwilling. If I didn't work hard, how could I know if I could stand by her side? But God played a big joke on me. Uncle Song's family went bankrupt. He was deceived by someone he trusted. I mobilized all my funds and connections to save the Song family. Uncle Song said he couldn't afford to owe me such a huge favor. Shamefully, I asked him for his daughter's hand in marriage. Uncle Song didn't agree. It was Song Jinyan who pushed open the door of the study and walked in, saying that she was willing. I kept my head down and didn't dare to look at her at all. I only opened my mouth and proposed marriage after I heard her footsteps. I was taking a gamble, and I won the bet, but I couldn't forgive myself. On the day I married Song Jinyan, she walked towards me like a princess in her wedding dress. For a moment, I felt like the fairy tale had come true, but I wasn't a noble prince, nor was I a just knight. I was just a servant who had coveted her for a long time. How could I let her know that as long as she was willing, I could be her slave for the rest of my life? Everyone was blessing me. No one noticed that my hand hanging by my side was shaking uncontrollably. At night, I looked at her plain face under the light. My blood was boiling. She was very nervous. She even avoided my gaze when she looked at me. How could I have the heart to touch her? I tried to soothe her and told her not to be afraid of me, but it seemed to be of no use. Our relationship became polite and distant. There was no progress at all. She liked traveling, and I never asked about her itineraries, but once, when she went out, she forgot to take in the clothes drying on the balcony. She sent me a message asking me to put them in her room. I touched the soft and thin fabric. Shamefully, I got aroused. There was only one thought in my mind. She had so many similar clothes. She wouldn't notice if one piece was missing, right? Human greed knows no bounds. I had a wicked thought. If she found out and came to confront me, I might as well just give in completely. I had endured for too long, and I felt like I was on the verge of going crazy, but she was such a scatterbrain. She really never noticed it even once until that day, when she came home. She was on the phone with a lawyer, consulting about divorce matters. She probably didn't know I was at home. She chatted freely in the living room for a while, talking about property division and compensation. I leaned against the back of the door, feeling dazed. I really wanted to rush out and kneel down to beg her not to divorce me, not to leave me, just take pity on me and show me some mercy. When the living room became quiet, I realized that my face was covered in tears. I knew that I was paranoid, and that I was like a madman. I always managed to do the things I set out to do, no matter how hard it was, but when it came to loving her, if she didn't agree, I had no way at all. I locked myself in the room and didn't let her find out. I listened to her brisk footsteps occasionally passing by in the living room. I heard her humming a song. It seemed that leaving me was a relief for her. I felt like I had died once. Our third wedding anniversary was approaching. How could she have the heart to leave me at this time? That night, I used the lame excuse that the shower head in my bathroom was broken. I borrowed her bathroom. She was sitting on the bed applying a facial mask. She was wearing a pure white silk nightgown. It was extremely alluring, but she had no defenses against me at all. In her bathroom, there was the fragrance she left behind. In the rattan basket beside, there were the clothes she had just changed out of. Blood rushed to a certain place instantly. I lost my ability to think when I left. I took it away with me. She should notice it. She must notice it. When I got back, I wrote about this incident in the diary. I clipped the fountain pen in the middle of the title page. This fountain pen was the one she gave me on our first wedding anniversary. It was black and gold, a collectible item. I cherished it very much and rarely took it out to use when I usually wrote. I used the ruby red fountain pen she had given me before. If she found out, she would come to my room to look for it, and she would see this diary. If she flipped through it further, she could see all my confessions. I was looking forward to seeing her lose her temper at me. She always smiled at me politely. That could no longer satisfy me. I wanted to see her get angry, to see her cry. I wanted to hear her call my name in a soft voice. On our third wedding anniversary, I gave her a string of pearl necklace. I had ordered it from a French craftsman half a year ago. Only something unique in the world was worthy of her. I was so afraid that she would take out a divorce agreement and tell me that this was the gift for me. Thankfully, she said she didn't prepare one. I could see a trace of guilt on her face. Perhaps, I still had hope. During dinner, I decided to put aside my work matters and accompany her to visit Uncle Song. With family around, she wouldn't treat me with such a distant attitude. At night, I deliberately had a couple more drinks with Uncle Song. Taking advantage of the alcohol, I summoned up the courage to confess my feelings, but she still resisted my touch so much and even called me a pervert. I felt as if I had been stripped naked and laughed at. I felt as if I had fallen into an ice cellar. I couldn't find a single word to refute, because my possessiveness towards her had already been distorted. Her simple words were like a death sentence for me. The next day, I left dejectedly. God knows how delighted I was when Uncle Song told me that she had come back early. I really wanted to go and take a look at the previous content of the diary. The rain was pouring so heavily I had to go and pick her up. 2 years ago, she went on a trip alone and didn't tell me when she came back. She got completely soaked. I was both worried and angry. She would rather get drenched in the rain than give me a call. I hated myself for being so useless. This time was different. When I walked towards her, I saw joy in her eyes. What I didn't expect even more was that, in the car, she took the initiative to kiss me. Was she feeling sorry for me getting wet in the rain? If so, I could get myself soaked every day. That night was like a dream. She was so obedient and cute. She even asked me to show her what I did with her nightgown in front of her, saying that this was a punishment for me. If this was a punishment, I wanted to have it every day. Later, I tried every means to please her. She was so tired that she cried and called my name in a soft voice, asking me to let her rest, saying that we still had a long, long time ahead of us. Holding her as she slept soundly, my eyes welled up with tears. Was this her promise to me? Yes, it must be.